not time for the eclipse, but that's coming soon. It is time for us to open the viewing window. Is that what it's called?
Sure.
Okay. It's time for us to open the viewing window in the observatory. We're at the University of Guelph. Look who I have.
Hello, everybody.
The Great Orbax is joining me, and of course, it is all about today's eclipse. Not time yet, but that time is coming.
It is. It's coming soon.
Now, people have been talking about this eclipse for a long time. What is an eclipse?
All right, so we live in a very special set of circumstances where our moon is about 400 times smaller than our sun, but our sun is 400 times further away. So what that means is that the sun and the moon actually appear to be about the same size in our sky, and we're the only planet in the solar system that this happens on.
Interesting.
So, at certain times, the moon...
Demonstration.
Yeah, here we go. At certain times, the moon can actually move in front of the sun and cover it entirely.
Yes.
Now, you don't necessarily need 6 balloons to do this demonstration, but it doesn't hurt to have the extra.
Way more fun.
Exactly. So what's going to happen is this moon is going to completely block the sun's light from our skies. And its shadow is going to continue to move across North America, cutting right through a large portion of southern Ontario, including Hamilton.
You've done this before, haven't you?
I like balloons.
I love the fact that we're just really getting down to the basics of it, because a lot of people have been talking about it, a lot of people are worried about a lot of things, and we're going to get to some of those details, but the best places to see this eclipse happening.
Oh, so basically going straight across from, so unfortunately here in Guelph, we're only going to get 99.1% coverage of the sun. But starting at about Burlington into Hamilton, all the way to Niagara Falls, Ontario, Niagara Falls is going to get 3.5 minutes of totality, a full coverage of the sun by the moon.
Wow. That's remarkable. And this is, when's the next time this is going to happen?
2144. So book that in your calendar. 120 years from now, you should be able to get a day off in time.
Let's hope so. Okay, coming up, we're going to talk about the safety of the eclipse. We're going to talk about like animals and is there going to be an impact. We're going to talk about people and is there going to be an impact on us. We'll have all that coming up on Morning Live. Regular sunglasses are not going to cut it for the eclipse today. You need to be as safe as you possibly can be. And there's a couple of ways to do that. Like, I'm not at home, Orbax, making a filter out of like old cereal boxes, am I?
You're not?
I'm not supposed to be.
No, what we have here is, this is a thin film.
So cool.
That has been tested to actually block the sun's intensity. If you are curious about your own eclipse glasses and their safety,
there's a way that you can actually check the
there's a way to check.
authenticity.
So all properly tested and authentic eclipse glasses, eclipse viewers, or eclipse films will have this ISO certification in it. The ISO certification is 123122, and only glasses or viewers with this certification are safe for you to look at the sun with. Even at 99% coverage, that 1% of the sun's rays is still enough to actually damage your eyes.
So, but like when we normally look at the sun, because let's face it, we've all
You don't normally look at the sun. This is the thing, is that no one should look at the sun.
But you do. You
Right,
do.
okay.
Everyone does. Everyone has in their lifetime, especially when they're a kid and they're told, don't look at the sun, what do you immediately do? You look at the sun. The rays that are going to damage your eyes on a regular day versus the day of the eclipse.
It's all the same.
It's all the same.
You should never stare at the sun.
Because there's rumors that people can go blind.
They can. If you stare at the sun's rays will actually burn your retina. And the problem with that is that your retina doesn't repair itself. So once you damage those cells that actually detect light in the backs of your eyes, it doesn't grow back.
No.
It's not like losing a finger. It doesn't actually grow back. So it's easy enough to get these types of viewers. If you can't get these viewers because there's been such a run on them, and it's actually difficult to kind of find these.
It is hard now.
Many of you have probably experienced in your youth the idea of looking at a camera obscura or a pinhole camera. This pinhole method of observing the sun has been used in times before we had foil viewers.
This is what I was talking about with the cereal box.
I got it. That's why I kind of steered the segment towards that. The idea behind this is that if you just poke a tiny pinhole into something, put it towards the sun and look away from the sun at it, you'll be able to see the projection. Now, normally that projection is just a circle because the sun is circular. But as that eclipse sort of starts to shield the sun's rays, you'll see that crescent shape on that projection. And you can do that with anything, even something like a colander or leaves on trees, if this happened to be in a time when we had leafy trees. Those little pinholes, I saw one with a guy with a straw hat held it towards the sun, and you could see hundreds of them on the ground.
Now, what about, I have one quick question, I know we're running out of time, but what about looking at the sun, putting a filter? Do you need to put filters on cameras or telescopes?
Yes, so we can put filters on our telescopes here.
Yeah, we've got it.
And again, for sure, you 100% will want to have something like this if you're looking through a home telescope or anything like that.
What about a camera lens?
So it can damage the actual
lens.
It can damage not necessarily the lens. It's the
mechanics.
Oh, jeez, I gotta get into this. All right, so
no, we don't have time.
It can damage your camera, so put a filter on it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Perfect.
Basics. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk about your pets and what effect this has, the eclipse today, on our communities. All of that coming up. But for now, sending it back to you guys. Back with the Great Orbax at the University of Guelph. He's a physics professor here, but he's our science guy. He knows everything there is to know about the eclipse that's happening in, oh my gosh, just a few hours away.
That's right. We're getting very close to this coverage of the sun with the moon.
It's so cool. Now, we've been talking about safety, what we need to do to protect ourselves. Of course, wear the fancy glasses. Do not stare directly at the sun. But a lot of people are wondering, is this going to impact animals, whether they are our pets or animals in the wilds?
Well, yeah, so this is the thing. Daytime activity of the animals in our ecosystem versus nighttime activity is controlled by the rising and setting of the sun. So they will get confused by the fact that it gets suddenly dark. And especially if you're in totality again, it gets dark to the point where it's the darkness of nighttime.
Right. Temperature is also going to be dropping.
It will. Temperature will drop, although, I mean, that's pretty typical for April, it seems so far.
I know, it's like all of a sudden. So we've got our animals at home, keep them indoors.
Sure, yeah.
Keep them inside. Animals don't typically look at the sun because, well, they just don't. Keep them inside, and animals out in the wild, they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you will notice that as it gets dark, you'll start to notice things like the birds will stop chirping.
Bees don't make honey.
Yeah, bees won't be making honey. They'll actually stop flying because bees don't fly when it's dark. So you'll notice these types of things that'll actually start to occur while it becomes nighttime. Yeah, I mean that is part of it, though, right?
There'll be a little anxiety.
That's what they say. One of the things too, as we get more light pollution, that's affecting the behavior of animals as well, because you're not getting that total darkness that's taking place anymore.
Now, what about the eclipse on our community? How is it going to impact people?
Well, I mean, I look at the eclipse as a massive opportunity to engage with young people, with older people, with everybody across the board coming together to enjoy this scientific phenomenon as a community, right? There's just this huge communal experience of sharing this with your neighbors, with your friends, especially after the last few years that we've had.
Totally.
This is a way that we can kind of all come together and observe this by not directly staring at the sun.
I'll put mine on too. All right, so there you have it in just a couple of hours. Hope you got your glasses handy. We are going to be checking out the eclipse live from Niagara Falls. We're going to be back with the Great Orbax momentarily. Here at the University of Guelph in the observatory, all I see staring back at me is a giant eyeball. Should I be concerned, Orbax? It's weird.
Yeah, if there's a giant eye in the sky, I think we should really, I'll start the...
We should all be a little concerned. No, but for real, we're talking about the eclipse that's happening today. This, of course, is a magnificent piece of equipment. A lot of people are going to be checking out the eclipse this afternoon. And what I think is cool, we're going to really nerd out on this one, is the moon covering the sun isn't the only thing that you could potentially see.
Yeah, so that's true. So when the moon eclipses the sun, it will give you the effect of it being nighttime. So we spoke about this in terms of animals thinking that it's nighttime, but not only that, if there's few enough cloud coverage and you are in totality, you might be able to see the stars and the planets. Jupiter will be just up and to the left of where the eclipse is taking place. And between Jupiter and the sun is, we happen to have a comet that's in our atmosphere right now that will be visible this afternoon. It's comet 12P Pons Brooks. And it's...
I'm sorry, what was it called?
12P Pons Brooks.
P Pons Brooks.
And it has a orbit of 71 years.
Wow.
So we happen to be in this eclipse that won't occur for 120 years in this area, with a comet that only has an orbit of 70 years. And it will be appearing kind of just between Jupiter and the eclipse.
Wow, I mean, the fact that we get to experience this in our lifetime is remarkable. And the fact that we get to potentially see a comet every 71 years at the same time, that's even more remarkable. Any last piece of advice for people checking out the eclipse today?
Remember, don't stare directly at the sun. Use your viewers, use a camera obscura, and just enjoy it. I mean, like you said, this is literally an opportunity to engage with our community about science and about STEM. Mm-hmm. And one of the things to remember is that this is a pretty incredible experience for the junior scientists in your life.
It's true.
So it's an opportunity for all of us to support them and to learn a little bit about space.
All right, well, thanks so much for having us today. We've had a lot of fun. We've got our glasses. Put them on. We're ready to watch the eclipse as it takes place live from Niagara Falls. Lots more coming up on Morning Live.
Don't forget to have a science-tastic day.